Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my weekly review for this week's episode of Game of Thrones. This week we got to see Game of Thrones Season 4, Episode 9, which was called The Watchers on the Wall. All right, good stuff. So this was kind of like our big episode for the year. Well, we've had a lot this year. That's the thing with this season. Usually, the second last episode for Game of Thrones of each season is like the big episode. I'm talking about Blackwater, for example, from season 2, and even season 3 also was the Red Wedding at this time. And each season it's pretty much like that. By the way, this will contain spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen the episode yet, and there are some major character deaths in this one, so be wary of that. If you haven't seen it yet, I suggest you watch it before watching my review. So we knew this one was going to be big. I didn't know how big, though, because we just had an amazing episode last week with the Mountain and the Viper, of course, which I heavily enjoyed. One of my favorite episodes we've had so far, and very epic battle at the end of that one. Probably the most epic battle we've ever seen in Game of Thrones, or one of them, right up there with Eddard versus Jaime, the first time that they fight. That was pretty damn epic as well, and there were some pretty good ones in this episode too. But this season all around, I mean, even the finale coming up, the last episode, looks like it's going to be awesome. So I'll do a preview video for that probably tomorrow if you guys are interested and you want to check it out. So if you're watching this at any time past Sunday night, it'll probably be in the channel. So go ahead and click my channel name, and it should be right there, one of the most recent videos for the preview for next week, but for the actual season 4 finale. But that said, it sounds like this season's going to have, it's got a bunch of highlights throughout it. Of course, Joffrey at the beginning, then, the Mountain and the Viper, this episode, and then the finale should be amazing as well. So all around, I think you can say pretty conclusively that Season 4 is the most packed season. A Storm of Swords is a pretty excellent, not pretty excellent, but it's probably my favorite out of all Martin's books of A Song of Ice and Fire. It's pretty incredible. And this season right here has just been, has blown my mind how good it's been. So this episode right here, we finally get to see the Wall and the battle between Mance Rader and the Night's Watch commence. We finally get to see it begin, so to speak, at the Wall itself. So Mance's attack starts. We have a couple giants thrown in the mix, which were really cool to see. Woolly mammoths, really, really cool. In addition to that, we've got Tommen, Ygritte, and all of the guys from the Night's Watch basically that are still alive, that are remaining. Sir Alliser is in charge for most of it, and then of course Jon's kind of like his backup guy in this situation, because he doesn't cower and he's able to stay strong and do what needs to be done. In addition to him as well, too, some of the other guys that were there, for example, Pyp was great in this episode, I thought. Of course, he's dead now, but he fought, he did what he had to do, and Gren, which was the other guy, how they had that little group of like Jon, Sam, Pyp, and Gren when they first kind of met earlier on in the series. Gren, really impressive. What he did, him and those other 6 guys taking down a giant, was pretty insane. And holding the gate, at least for a little while, was really cool to see. So to see what happened with all of them in this episode was really exciting. And I really, at first, I didn't like Sam that much. I was like, he's kind of useless. I didn't really feel much for him. I didn't care. But I can honestly say, as the series has gone on, I care more about him all the time. I think at this point, I really like him as a character now. I've gone from like a total 180 with regards to Sam. At first, hated him. Now, I kind of like to see him a lot. He's a really cool character, and to see what's happening with him and Gilly. Really touching scenes in this one, really good stuff, and nice to see that he did survive. Really cool stuff. So I liked all of that, how they handled that. I liked all of those characters there, and getting to finally see this battle just go down. On the Wildling side, we had, of course, Tommen, who basically has been captured, defeated, so to speak. We also had Ygritte. That was a huge one right there, which was a really touching scene when the kid shoots her in the back with the arrow as she's kind of holding, not kind of fighting with her emotions, whether or not she's gonna, shoot Jon with an arrow. So that scene right there is probably the highlight of the episode, to tell you the truth. The scene between them when he's kind of holding her as she's dying, basically. So that was a really touching scene, and I have to say a sad death, but it's a weird one because it would never work out since Jon kind of chose his his brothers, the Night's Watch, over her. Which side he fights for, which side he's on. It's kind of like first he betrayed the Night's Watch, sort of, or he did what he had to do in order to stay alive. So in the long run, he ended up doing what was best for the Night's Watch. But because he kind of went to their side, the wildling side, and then he switched back, so to speak. When it came to it, he kind of turned his back on Ygritte. So that was pretty sad, and I really liked it overall. I mean, it was a good death, and it's a war. You've got you should have casualties in war, and this one we had a lot. Pyp, Gran, her. And let's see, Sir Alcer isn't dead, but he was wounded by Tommen pretty badly, so we'll see what happens with that, if he's able to survive and heal from that. And then, of course, we had just, random wildlings. We had the Thens in there, who I love the battle between Jon and the Then leader, the bigger guy, the scary dude with the big axe. That was, with like the elongated axe, was really badass. This episode was crazy. So, let's see, all of that was just insane to see. The environment was great, getting to see the wall from different angles as the guys are attacking. You've got some guys, wildlings, climbing up. You've got them letting go of that big sigh thing that they release at the top of the wall, and it came down and just kind of sweeps across and just smokes all those guys. It was really impressive. Dropping the burning oil. The arrows, there's one in particular where the giant shoots that big arrow and it hits the guy and he goes like flying over the wall and down into the other side. I was like, oh man, that was so cool. So just an insane episode with lots of action all the way through. Started off we had a little bit of a slow part to start there with Maester Aemon and Sam, and then we got quickly started, and it just went all the way through the entire episode. So kind of keep this review a little short because it's mostly action, so there's not all that much to talk about with regards to development. I mean, there is, of course, we've got Jon, who's now leaving to go to speak to Mance to try some sort of strategy. Who knows? I guess we'll have to wait and see whether or not that'll be resolved this season, or if we're going to have to wait till next season to see what happens with that. I would assume probably next season, but I haven't seen the preview for next week, the promo yet. So I guess we'll see. Hopefully it's this season, but I'm just saying based on time, it might not be. So we'll see what happens with that. And, the Night's Watch is lost, at least I want to say, from all the deaths we got to see, they must have lost at least more than half. They probably only have like 30 or 40 guys left, is all the deaths we got to see on the wall. The guys getting shot with arrows, or the guys down below, the giant killing 6, for example. And they're just so outnumbered, it's crazy. So really solid episode. It was nice to finally see something else happen with the wall, because it was a really slow build up throughout the first few seasons. Like we had like 3 seasons with the wall where Jon's kind of back and forth, where we had some exciting parts, but it kind of all built up to this, which would be like the climax of this battle, or at least the climax so far. We'll have to see what happens past this, and looks like we're going to see even more action pretty soon, probably at the start of next season, with everything. So I really liked it. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. Episodes like this, the big battle episodes, these are really the ones that you kind of expect to see this in a movie, but you don't usually expect to see this in a TV series. This scale of battle where you have, huge wall structure like that with awesome graphics. They look down and they see the fire, the biggest fire the North has ever seen. And you've got giants, you've got all this different, it was just really, really impressive. I can't believe they can do this with a TV show. Pretty much on the same level as Blackwater, and how awesome that episode was. Right up there, right up there. But it depends which characters you like more. Do you like to see the Night's Watch more with the wall, or do you like to see King's Landing? King's Landing is kind of my favorite location throughout the series. A lot of exciting stuff happens there, and a lot of twists and turns, and great plots and schemes, and just different things happening with that. So that's my favorite. But it's nice to finally see the wall get its time to have a big battle like that and us see something impressive with it, and it was very impressive. So amazing episode, one of the best we've probably had so far, and if you're an action junkie, you cannot go wrong with this one. I like action a lot, and this one definitely delivered for sure. So I guess we'll just see what happens now. Only one more episode left, damn it. But it's been an incredible season. It's definitely one you could probably watch over a few times. Great replay value, for sure. Great replay value this series has. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. If you guys liked the review, please thumb it up, like it below. If you want to help support the channel, add it to favorites, share it on Twitter or Facebook, and I'll call it here. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one, probably tomorrow for the preview if you're interested in seeing my Game of Thrones preview for next week. The finale. This is Trev, saying peace.